First of all, welcome everybody, and I'm just really happy there I remembered to unmute myself. I was saying that before the chat. So I'm here to speak about finding a mentor and the importance of having a mentor, and also the importance of business development. So I'm David Hamilton, Executive Vice President of Ninja Kiwi. Like Jamie, we started out at university with a company called Digital Goldfish that eventually got acquired by Ninja Kiwi in 2012. We've got 32 staff in the Dundee office and, well, our virtual office now, or we did have 32 staff in the office and about 35 in the New Zealand office. So when we first started, the game was called Baby Grow. It was a mobile phone game that was based on my university project. And again, like Jamie, didn't have a clue how to start a games company, what to do. So again, it's just all about making it up as you kind of go along, what you think is going to work, try it out. One thing that we did do wrong, myself and my business partner Barry, was we went and actually did it without doing too much research into it. So we took out, I think it was £12,000 worth of advertising in all the top kind of local magazines like Beano, Dandy, Ms, Top of the Pops, Shout. We had a full page advertorial selling direct to consumer and rented an SMS gateway. Now the cross readership of all the magazines was like 5 million. So we were doing, oh, only if we do a percentage chance, it will be selling at £4, we'll be overnight millionaires. And we genuinely believed it. And we spent the £12,000 and we probably made £1,000 back if we were lucky. And people thought we were daft back then selling direct to consumer, but I'd like to say we were geniuses ahead of our time if you look at mobile games now being advertised at the Super Bowl. But yeah, all joking aside, we didn't do our research. We didn't really know how to sell mobile phone games at that time. And yeah, we lost a bit of money on that. And it was all personally guaranteed. It wasn't like myself and Barry had any cash. So it was a PSYBT loan and a bank overdraft. But one thing it did do was I notified Scottish Enterprise about us, and they seen what we'd done and thought, right, we better help these guys out. So I remember this, met Joyce Matthew, who's just actually retired from Scottish Enterprise, and she says, right, we need to find you a business mentor, somebody you guys can get on with, somebody who could tell you what you need to do, somebody you're going to listen to, because obviously myself and Barry, if you've met us before, we do like to have a bit of a laugh. So we needed somebody there enough to kind of tell us off if we went too far. So anyway, this person was a Mark Kettle from Cobra Mobile, who's still around, and Joyce Matthew, the three of us, me, myself, Joyce, went to Mark Ettle's office. I remember it. He was like the top guy in mobile development back then, did Lego bricks and Sensible Soccer and all the top games. And we were so nervous going to it. And his waiting room was bigger than our office we had at Abertay. We then got moved to his boardroom, and it was honestly like something out of a TV show how big his boardroom was. He made us wait. We were sweating. Our palms were sweating. And then all of a sudden, here he comes in the room. And I remember this, and I don't know who's all in here, so I won't swear, but he looks at Baby Grow on the phone, throws it back at us, and tells us it's basically SHIT. And I couldn't believe it in front of Joyce Matthew. He said this, but he was doing it as a test. Like, he would send us every week when we'd go meet up, every month, I think back then we met him, he would send us tasks to go away and do. And he was doing it to make sure that we listened to him and took his advice. And now to this day, he's a great friend of mine, and still keep in contact with him, still listen to what he's got. He still helps me out. And yeah, that was him. He just wanted to make sure we weren't going to fold, and we were tough enough to get through it. And honestly, we wouldn't be here today without Mark. He basically taught us how you contact people. So back then, I was probably contacting them from a Hotmail address. Now that would probably be Gmail now, before you think I'm that bad. But I was probably telling them myself and Barry's life stories. I was probably telling them we were working part-time as well, funding it, and we just needed our break. And it was Mark that taught us stuff like email signatures and have some section on your website, so when you first go there, you get the wow factor. Say stuff like we, don't say Barry and I. We could be 10 people, not just me and Barry graduating. And right enough, it totally worked. I mean, we started getting answers from publishers. People were responding to us. And I know it sounds embarrassing looking back then, but it was more naivety that people would want to hear us and feel sorry for us and want to give us the a chance in the games industry and things, but they don't. They're going to be putting the money to you. They're going to be giving you money basically, and they need to know that you're professional enough to do it. And yeah, not joking individuals like myself and Barry was. So find somebody that you can that can be that person, not just somebody that you can have a laugh with. You don't necessarily want that. You want somebody, yes, you can have a laugh with, but somebody also who you're going to feel a bit like, I've just been told off, and that's what you need to do. And obviously, Scottish Enterprise is still around. Obviously, Joyce is retired, but contact these guys. They're the type of guys who put you in contact with other people if you don't know anybody yourself. But reach out to every games industry in Dundee, games companies in Dundee, and most of us will be given to help you. So find who you connect with, find who you want that person to be, and just ask. The worst we can say is no. So I'm all for helping people. So definitely do that. Anyway, wary of my time. I didn't even take it when I started talking. What, 1:15, and I could talk for Scotland. So business development is so important. Kind of like what Jamie said earlier. He touched on it. It's not just about a game. You could have the best game in the world, and if you do no business development, then you're not going to really be able to do anything with your game. And I think honestly that's how we kind of got to where we were, because I mean it's helpful, easier for me because I'm 6'8" and look like Alan Carr, but it's basically just going to speak to people. I mean, I could give you so many examples of it's who you know in the industry that helps you out. Paul Farley from Tag Games, I used to attend all the connection stuff that goes on, and it was actually Paul Farley that published our first title in mobile. So with Mark's help, publishers started responding to us and not just ignoring my Hotmail emails, and they were responding saying, oh, thank you for your game, but unfortunately we can't publish one of your titles without any of your previous games published. So it was kind of like applying for a job back then, catch-22. If you don't have experience, you don't get a job. It was actually Paul Farley who had the connections to publish from his existing role in iPlay, which was a publisher. And Paul had said that when I told him we were getting knocked back from publishers now because no games published, it was Paul that then said to me, well, do you want Tag to publish it? Obviously, they took a cut, but he was doing it more of a favour for us, because for his work and the stuff that he had to put in to do that, it was just all about ticking that box for us moving forward, to then be able to say, yeah, we have a title published. So again, that was just purely me. I didn't know Paul starting Digital Goldfish, didn't know Mark before starting Digital Goldfish. That was purely me just going to any event I could, just so people remembered me. And I even remember going to one called Dress for Success, an event in Scottish Enterprise. And it was probably one of the worst ones I've ever been at, to be honest. But I went there. I knew that folk would be there that I need to speak to, and like I say, come to the events. It's great all you see here, because this is the sort of stuff you need to go to. Make us remember your faces. Like obviously the Dundee drinks mix-ups before, seeing the same people over and over again. And like I say, reach out for it. It's one of the key things to do is business development. And I'm over my time yet? No? Good? 2 minutes? So another example of it is for Apple, for when the iPhone came out. That's what changed our business, basically. And it was actually Dynamo Games that gave us the contact for Apple. And again, that was just from getting on with the guys there, Brian and the two Stuarts. We would attend events, have drinks with them, get on a personal laugh with them, and Apple was coming up to see them because they're a championship manager. So Apple then asked them, who else shall we meet in Dundee? Is there any other developers? And they said Tag Games, Cobra Mobile, and Digital Goldfish. So again, if Brian didn't know about Digital Goldfish, we would never have got to meet the guy from Apple, Dave Currell, who then gave us the feature on Apple, who then helped us get to the #1 spot. So again, I could, all through business development, that's what we got there. So it's #1 prio for you. It's probably more important than having a good game, is have good business development. And look at that, bang on 25 past. Thank you, people.